All right, let me tell you about last night. It was just a normal family dinner, the usual chaos. My aunt's talking about her garden, the kids are making a mess with their spaghetti, and my Uncle Bob, he's just sitting there, quietly stirring his iced tea. Now, Uncle Bob is a man of few words. He's a retired engineer, super practical. The kind of guy whose idea of a wild Friday night is organizing his tool shed. So when he suddenly clears his throat and says, "I have an announcement," the entire table goes silent. Even the kids stopped flinging food. We all just stared at him. You could feel the tension. My mom probably thought he was sick. Cousin probably thought he was finally going to admit he broke his lawnmower last summer. He takes a long, slow sip of his tea, looks around at all of us and says, "I'm selling the house." Okay, a little surprising, but not a total bombshell. He and my aunt have been talking about downsizing for years. But then he drops the second part. And I'm buying an old school bus. Complete silence. You could hear a pin drop. My aunt just blinks at him. My dad chokes on a breadstick. A school bus. Uncle Bob, the guy who color codes his screwdrivers, continues, completely unfazed by our collective shock. "I'm going to convert it into a mobile home. A schoolie, they call it. What are you? And your aunt and I are going to travel the country." He said it with this little smile, a twinkle in his eye I hadn't seen in years. He wasn't joking. The questions started flying immediately. Where will you park? What about your stuff? You know how to drive a bus. Uncle Bob, who's usually overwhelmed by more than 2 questions at a time, just calmly pulls out his phone. He starts swiping through photos. Not just any photos. He has blueprints. He has detailed floor plans he drew himself. He's got a 3D model of the interior on some fancy app. There was a queen-sized bed in the back, a compact kitchen with a little stove, a full-on bathroom with a shower, and even a tiny fold-down desk for his laptop. He had solar panels planned for the roof, a composting toilet, and a rainwater collection system. This wasn't some spur-of-a-moment midlife crisis. This was a meticulously planned operation. He told us he'd been researching this for over a year. He'd been watching hundreds of hours of videos, reading forums, and even talking to other schoolie owners online. He'd calculated the fuel efficiency, mapped out potential routes for their first year, and had a spreadsheet comparing different models of old school buses. He knew which engines were the most reliable and which states had the easiest registration process. He'd thought of everything. My aunt, who we all thought would be the one to shut this down, was just beaming. Turns out this was her idea too. They'd been feeling stuck, like they were just waiting for life to be over. They wanted an adventure. Didn't want to just sit in their perfectly manicured suburban house anymore. They wanted to wake up to a view of the mountains one day and the ocean the next. They wanted to visit all the weird roadside attractions and national parks they'd only ever seen on postcards. And honestly, as he was showing us his plans, this crazy idea started to sound, well, amazing. He showed us a photo of an old yellow school bus he had his eye on. It looked like a rust bucket to me, but to him, it was a blank canvas. He started talking about the work it would take. Tearing out the seats, insulating the walls, framing the interior, running the plumbing and electrical. He wasn't scared of the work. He was excited. This was the ultimate engineering project for him. He described their future life, waking up, making coffee, and deciding should we go see the Grand Canyon today or head towards the coast. No schedule, no deadlines, just open road. They'd work part-time from the road if they needed to, but the goal was simplicity. To live with less stuff and more experiences. They were trading a 3,000 square foot house for a 250 square foot bus, and they couldn't be happier about it. It really made me think. We all get so caught up in the way things are supposed to be. Go to school, get a job, buy a house, retire, and then what? Just sit there? My uncle, the most practical by-the-book person I know, was throwing the whole book out the window. He was choosing to write his own final chapter, and it was going to be an adventure story. He wasn't running away from life. He was running towards it, full speed ahead, in a giant yellow bus. The craziest part? He asked me if I'd help him film the whole process. He wants to document the entire conversion, from rusty bus to rolling home, and put it online. He thinks it might inspire other people who feel a little stuck. So, yeah, it looks like I'm going to be spending my weekends learning how to rip seats out of a school bus and documenting the most unexpected adventure I've ever seen. And you can bet I'm going to take you all along for the ride. This is going to be wild. Make sure you follow along to see how this absolutely insane and brilliant idea turns out. Thanks for watching.